Yo, so check this out. I feel like I'm kind of like in a little down period right now, but not in the way I guess you could say people would expect, in the sense of like it's not necessarily being down as far as like a mood or whatever, but life has its peaks and valleys, and I'm in that valley right now, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And something that always helps me get through it is just kind of keeping the same routine slash work ethic like consistently throughout the whole thing, so that it just I can kind of hit it in stride and kind of get in an automatic kind of mode in those times.
Can I say a
So
Jay-Z quote for that?
yes, go ahead, my
And
friend.
that's why, real quick, before I get to that quote, Facebook memories is some of the most embarrassing shit I've ever seen in my life. The shit I used to say. But sometimes I was spitting real shit. And one of them was Jay-Z's quote, "One day you're up, next day you're down. Long as you stay the same, it'll come back around."
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Once again, it's a life. That's it. Stay the same, it'll come back around.
Yeah, and a quote, Jay-Z protege Nipsey Hussle, the marathon, man, it's a marathon. You can't look at it from a short race kind of thing, or you're gonna get to a certain checkpoint and that's it. Like, nah, it ain't never that.
He
It's
definitely
always
redefined what marathon is in like in the perspective of living a life. Like
Mhm.
it's something you're gonna work on forever.
And it's dope that he even just made it cool for people to really execute a long-term plan and really think about their future and be more tapped in. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
Mm-hmm.
that's the cool thing about artists like that, and why they kind of exist in a certain realm. And that even reminds me of something I saw Alchemist talk about on Instagram. Shout out to Alchemist,
Yep.
super dope producer. Really came up in the 90s, 2000s. I think it was late 90s, early 2000s, but he's been flourishing ever since. And he was kind of talking about how he's not really part of the music industry, because he said it like he's running a microbrewery. You know what I'm saying? Like he's tapped in with the people that mess with him, and he's giving them what they want, and he's still able to do what he loves, but he's not part of the whole music industry vibe. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of cool where like you get a lot of people that say like, which me, I was one of them, like, oh, this industry stuff, la 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 la, and it's like, okay, so then that you're not trying to be an industry person then.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
gotta you gotta walk in the path of what you want to do. You know what I mean? Music is not just the industry. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
It's not just
Yeah.
being tapped into like those circles and stuff. If
It's the
you
politics of it.
it's something that they talk about with comedians too. Like you can't take away a laugh. You know what I mean? Like if a
Yeah.
comedian is getting the laughs, bro, nobody can say anything, bro. It's
Mm-hmm.
the same thing with music. Like if you connecting with your fans and you putting it in their face, and they know like, yo, this is the kind of music I can expect. This is the
Mm-hmm.
catalog this person got. Nobody can, somebody in the industry is not going to stop that. You know what I'm saying? There's not
Yeah.
going to be somebody quote unquote blackballing you, telling people, hey, don't listen to that person. Nah, it don't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And that's why I think you kind of understand it more when you're in it, and you see,
Yeah.
yeah, you see what people are dealing with.
Hmm. And it's like, every time you hear the Grammy stuff with different artists where they're boycotting the Grammys or speaking out against the Grammys, anytime you hear them speaking out against certain awards or chart positioning and things like that, it's
Yeah.
because it's all a popularity contest. It's obviously talent, grind, money, execution, marketing, it's all that, but it's also a popularity contest. If you're not sitting at the cool kids table, everything's going to be way harder for you. All these people that you see become mega successful and all over the place and on every channel and all this stuff, the main thing everybody says is they're cool with everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if it's a person, if you want to be that guy, you got to put in that work that guy's putting in. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like Will Smith, you know what I mean? Like he was the love, he was the man of the hour for more than an hour. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He had that going because he was the cool guy everywhere. Whoever he interacted with, everybody had a good story. You know what I mean? And you know, maybe that had its consequences. You know what I mean, with the outbursts and some of the more public things that have been going on. You know what I'm saying? With Will Smith.
My bad. I was just some audio. No, I was gonna say I watched the Dave Chappelle little skit clip where he said, remember when Kramer said the N-word?
Yeah,
Did you see that clip about how Dave Chappelle reacted? He's like, I feel like 80% comedian, 20% black, because like, yeah, I was offended. But then, like, for you to do that shit, like, I felt you must be going through some shit, dog. For you to be dropping that and producing that content in your career, I know, like, you're at your lowest. And you recognize that shit when you're in it. And you see people reacting a certain way.
yeah. He was kind of saying how, like, as a comedian, he was like, "Damn, he's bombing." You know what I mean?
He's like, I hope you find your way back, huh?
He didn't care about the content as a comedian's point of view. He didn't care about what he was saying. He was like, "Man, this ain't resonating with the people. You in a dark space right now, bro."
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's there's a cool thing in there too, just about even how you look at stuff, which is something that it's a really big thing with me, and it's one of those things that's why I'm a big fan of people like Dave Chappelle, because they have the ability to look at stuff in black and white and really look at it from like a very far back view with that perspective and the close perspective, and kind of find a middle ground in between. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of times, you know, you kind of get too caught up in like the vision that you have or your little bubble, and you kind of need that perspective to kind of calibrate every once in a while.
Yeah. And that's what me and y'all in y'all industry, knowing what y'all know and trying to collaborate with people, you can look at them and see like, okay, the way you're moving right now, you're acting a certain way, kind of thing.
Yeah, like if it's, you know, it kind of goes back. I think Lester said it in one of the episodes before, where we touched on, you know, the egos that go into working with other people in the industry, and you know, where it's like, I'm here to make a good song. I you know, I don't gotta be the center of attention on this record. I don't gotta, you know what I'm saying? If my part just carries the record to your part and it still sounds good, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm here to make a good song. You know what I'm saying? And some people, they kind of get caught up with the ego part of it. Like, no, I want my verse to go first. Well, all right. I mean, it doesn't sound good first, but you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's just, there's like just egos involved, you know?
I'm gonna bring a little something I digested today. So, I work with a bunch of PhD scientists, right? And we were in a room today with the people who we supply work for, and it was expected to be one of the most turmoil environments ever. Like, even they had a legal guy come in, and they said that still?
Yeah.
Keep going, you good.
Maybe, yeah. So they said like they thought it was gonna be a Quentin Tarantino movie, right? And then one of my leads, she brought in and she said that everybody's, oh man, and I want to get this word right, so I'm just gonna look real quick. Myopia? Huh? Myopia. Everybody's in their own myopia. Have you heard that word?
I haven't.
Myopic.
Huh?
I've heard myopic, which is a derivative of the same words.
Yeah. So it pretty much elaborates your lack of seeing the bigger picture. And everyone has it, no matter how smart or intelligent or open-minded you are. Everybody has their own myopia. They have their own nearsightedness. They have their own view of things. And when you're in a room with, you know, even the three of us, and luckily ours is more aligned than a lot of people, but when you're in a room with everybody and you see so many people with so many different point of views, you're like, damn, I don't even want to do this. Is it worth the fight? And that's something that we deal with. Like, is it worth the fight of really having to come down to your level and explain it to you just to get you out of that? Because it's not, then if I get you out of that, what's to say I'm not in it? And someone has to get me out of that. So it's a constant battle of everybody's just confident in their nearsightedness. And this is how I see things. And this is how things should be. And I did realize that that's applied everywhere. That's applied in every single thing you do. And I think that's every battle in life. It's people's perspectives, and that's a word that I want to carry into me. I'm glad of course Lester would know it, but that's a word that I learned it and I was like, wow, that's something you got to take in effect every time you're in the room with people.
Yeah, kind of carrying off of what you just said. It's also a thing where like you can be like that if you understand that you have to live your life a certain way to stay in those parameters. You know what I mean? I think that's like the problem that a lot of people have, where they don't really realize like, okay, I want to look at things this way, but I want it to be where everybody agrees with it too. It's like, no, it don't work like that. You can live how you want to live, but that's for you. And you got to figure out how to make it work for you, where you're not leaning on anybody else's participation to be able to do it. Right. You know what I mean? That's kind of like where people lose me, when they have a needy kind of thing to them. You know what I mean? Like that's a big trait for me. That's a big red flag for me. You know what I mean?
Where
like
all they're doing is just satisfy themselves, right?
Just anybody that makes it seem like, anybody that will make it seem like what they're going through that day is bigger than anything else on a constant basis is the type of person that I do not want to associate with at all. Because it's like, if you can't have that perspective of the bigger picture and what's going on overall, and the fact that everybody's going through their own battles, you know what I mean? Everybody has a right to, talk to somebody that's willing to listen about what they're going through and everything. But if you're the type of person that's every day calling people up, asking for favors, needing advice, needing help, you always got some kind of end of the world situation going on, you really need to look inward and figure out what you doing to bring all this stuff to your own life.
That's real. That's definitely real.
You really regulate what, you know what I'm saying? You really regulate what you give your time to, who you give your time to, what kind of things you do with your time. It's your life. You're the one in charge. So if you're in this whole thing where it's like, in your mind, you're leaning on X, Y, and Z happening with other people for stuff to shake with you, already messed up.
Yeah. And I've dealt with that a lot, and I've dealt with people who I've shown opportunities to and pause, but they want to put all their eggs in my basket, and I'm like, that's the last thing you need to do. Like, I'm saying I might have something for you. And the last thing you do is just drop everything. Like, I remember I used to, and this is past experiences. Like, I used to tell somebody, hey, I might got something for you. And then like a week later, like, oh, they're offering me a promotion. Should I turn it down since you got something? I'm like, no, hell no. If that's ready now, take it. Yeah. Do that for you. I'm not sitting here living my life making sure I got you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not. Like, so you got to be the judge of what's best for you, no matter what comes at you, no matter who's telling you something. Whatever comes at you, you got to be the best judge of that.
Yeah, and I've seen that a lot in my life, especially, friends, but family as well. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, they have situations that, or create, I would say, situations that, are constant, like, anchors to them, and then they try to like put that anchor on you to help them get out of it. And it's like, nah, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I come from, it's weird because I come from a interesting family, but a very loving family. And so, that anchor always tends to fall on somebody else. You know what I mean? And it's like that cycle. You know what I mean? It's like, how can we get out as a family when we're always falling? You know what I'm saying? Because of other people. It's like, it sucks, man. It really does suck. Cause that's something that I tussle with internally a lot, because I grew up very, very family oriented. But just life situations,
that's crazy.
Kind of detoured me from being, basically just from allowing that to happen to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen how it goes. It always ends up with the person that helping everybody in a situation where they need help and nobody's able to help them. You know what I mean? And I just refuse to kind of put myself in that situation. I love my family to death, and I'll help them wherever I can, but I won't overextend myself. You know what I mean?
Like, that's a good way to lead into the topic that Lester was talking about for this week. And it's like the balance of doing it for you versus doing it for others. That's a thin line. That is a thin line.
Yeah, not facts.
How
I
do
know for me,
how do
like
you think? Yeah, how do you think you manage that?
for me, that's something that I, especially over like the last year or two, I've been really kind of like trying to take that step back and analyze, what I take in, pause, and how I handle those kind of situations. So, for example, before I was a very, very, what do you call it? I'm a Cancer by nature. I said this earlier and something I posted on social media. Like I'm a Cancer by nature, which kind of trickles down to me being like very empathetic. And so when someone has a situation, if I'm able to help them and I see them as somebody I can be loyal to, then I will give you the shirt off my back. You know what I'm saying? Because that's in my nature. But then I've realized, that you can't do that with everybody. And so I've learned to kind of really filter out who I allow into that very small circle, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I've gotten burned more time than I've gotten praised in those situations. So, I gotta just really move forward, think about myself and my peace and what is going to allow me to live my life not only happily, but you know what I'm saying, like peaceful. You know what I mean, like
Yeah.
where it's like I'm not concerned with things like that. So yeah, that's just
Okay,
what I'm at with it.
you're July 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm June 21st, so I'm on the cusp. And no matter how I pretend to be a Gemini, every single person who knows me in life knows I'm a Cancer. Same way. If I go all in with you, I'm going all in with you. And then if one thing messes that up, it's a wrap.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a wrap. It's a complete wrap. Over time, it went from 80% of complete wrap to 90% of complete wrap to the point where now it's 100%. If something don't align how it's supposed to align between us, 100%, I do not know you anymore. Probably one of my biggest flaws, but there's not a lot of people who do that in my life. There's no people who I ever make a bad judgment on. And like you said, sometimes it's family and sometimes it's people you've known for a long time.
Something I've really kind of not just accepted, but really just taking a step back and said, this is kind of how I want to move forward is, I do right, I do good. And if that doesn't work, no sweat off my back, lesson learned. But at the end of the day, I know I did good. So, whatever happens in the end, that I don't have to live with anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did good, I moved on, and that's what it is. But on the flip side of that, the other end of it, you're going to remember that person that did good all the time.
Oh, yeah. And as a person you just continuously keep looking out for and don't worry about no more. And
Yo,
I have
we've been
those
having
people.
this little secret struggle this whole time because Joe's mic has only been playing.
You
to
know what's
one
crazy?
side,
You want to know
right?
what I did? I went to settings, I went to audio, and where it was checked stereo audio, I unclicked it.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's technology for
what were
you.
you saying though, Joe? You
No,
were
but
following up.
that's technology for you, dude.
Yeah, I've been having to adjust these settings a lot more, like the last 2 or 3 times than before. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on with it, but
Well,
yeah,
that's all right.
what you were saying, Quincy, like it really just made me think about like all you could really do is work your hardest to be as solid as you can be, and then as long as you do that, you could be at peace with whatever happens next. You know what I mean? Like that's
Exactly.
kind of how I look at it. Like it's like I know that I'm gonna do the most considerate thing to a fault sometimes. So I also know that that means that if we have some kind of disagreement, it's very hard for me to understand how, you know what I'm saying, like you have a valid point of view because like Quincy said, bruh, I don't know if he said it on the podcast or he said it in a post, but like you know when you consider somebody else's feelings so much that you put yourself in a bind to so that they feel better, You know what I'm saying? That's something that you got to really manage that. Because if
Yeah.
not, you going down a dangerous road because you just emptying your vessel. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. No, that's exactly what I was saying. Is that you could now you can recognize, because you can recognize who's not real like that and who is, and I feel like those are people you don't got to worry about. And it's crazy because no matter if I know people I've known for over 20 years, that I still recognize them, and I notice they're still them, and I notice whenever one of those situations happen, I'm like, hey, at this point it's them, but they're at a certain level to me. And that reminds me of a DMX quote he had on Drink Champs. He's like, know people, and when you see them, believe them, and they're going to be exactly who they are. Don't ever think someone's not going to be who they are.
Yeah.
And we probably said it before, but that leads into this balance, and like I feel like over time you gain that, you recognize that a lot better.
It was funny because like that's something that I always credit to Wentworth. Like it was like very street, so you kind of got you kind of saw the rawest form of people's like real emotions and what they really thinking, what they really want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like you see it at its like purest form. You know what I'm saying? It's like you see every bad trait in different people, and they show themselves in different ways, but it's just so instantly recognizable. And it's like one of the things, like for example, like growing up in a neighborhood like that, like everybody knows that there's one or two people that they're the stealers. They're gonna
Mm-hmm.
steal all the time. You can't go to a convenience store with them. You can't go to Walmart. You can't go nowhere with them because they're gonna
Hmm.
steal for sure, for sure. And it was one of those things where like if you let the stealer come to your house and then something turned up missing, and then you asking everybody, and then you over here like, man, you better not have took my stuff. Everybody looking at you like, bro, he's the stealer. Why
Mm-hmm.
would you let him in your house? You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, when people show you who they are, believe them and act accordingly. You know what I mean? Everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people get this Captain Save-A-Ho kind of mentality with like everything in their life, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
they feel like they want to be the savior. They feel like they want to be like the bigger man and be the one that, you know what I'm saying? Like they just always want to have this glow about them, like, oh, I always do the right thing and I'm the moral compass and all this stuff. And it's like, bro, that's not what we doing. You know what I'm saying? Some people just ain't for each other. You know what I'm saying? It's a very simple thing. Like you don't gotta force it. It's a vibe thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's facts. I will say that that quote of when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. I feel like we've all heard it before, but it hits harder every time after life experience. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it might take a few experiences for you to be like, man, I knew that person was like that. I don't even know why I allowed myself to get into that situation. Or this person already had these traits about them. I don't know how I even got caught up with that. But, life is always the best teacher. I just always say try to learn from other people's experiences before you learn from
And
your own.
it's like
That's
Joe
hard
said,
though.
a lot of times it be them old relationships, long friendships, something we've talked about before, the way that, people in your proximity, it doesn't mean they for you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just happen
Hmm.
to live in the same area at the same time. Y'all not
Yeah.
obligated to anything. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, you can choose to be cordial, you could choose to be friendly, you could choose to be best friends, you could choose whatever you want, but at the end of the day, the circumstance doesn't determine who you got to have around you for the rest of your
Yeah.
life. You
Nah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. There's some people I hear them say something. I'm like, hey man, that's not from your heart, bro. And I would never say anything like that to you, and I don't say anything like that about anybody. And I was like, that's just stuff you just need to keep to yourself, man.
Yeah,
It's
that
not even
that
nothing serious, but it's just like
mhm.
saying things a certain way. Like, bro, that's just
It's like the
that's
same with people that choose to lie about little stuff just because.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're not even asking, you're not digging. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
you're not even talking about the subject they're talking about, and they're just volunteering lies. And it's like, okay, I
Yep.
mean, like you're really they really just go out of their way to show their true colors, like the DMX thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm. That's why I don't ever like and I'm not trying to be what's it called, a hypocrite, because I was a certain way and I worked on changing, and I changed, and I think I was consistent in my change. So I don't think that nobody ever won't change, but there's some people who, if you don't ever see them trying to change, they're never going to change. And you got to expect them to be themselves forever until you actually see change and witness it. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not negating no one can ever do that, but it's a lot of work to do that.
Yeah, man. A lot of people don't like to take ownership in their lives. You know what I mean? They want to act like they're in this thing that everybody else is shaping, and they can't escape this and that and all these different things. And it's like, bro, it ain't even like that. You creating your own. You're creating your own world against you, which doesn't make any sense. Like, you're the one living this life. Create the world to work for you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, ah, man, like that's the thing. Like what
Yeah,
you was
bro.
talking
That's
about,
a
Joe.
great.
Like, you
Never heard
can't
that
explain
before.
that to everybody. Like, and a lot of people are just gonna even hit you with an excuse when you tell them that. And it's like, if you're hitting me with an excuse when I tell you that, you're already lost on the concept. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because it's like, bro, excuses and things that happen in life, bro. That's
Yep.
always gonna be there. Always, always. Even the laziest bum person can find a million excuses for stuff. Anybody, like anybody, no matter how hard they work, they can make it seem like they don't got time for nothing.
Hmm.
But somehow the people that do it just find the time.
Yeah, I heard today that there is no such thing as issues. Like, issues equal opportunity in some way or another. Everything is an opportunity,
Yep.
and I took that a little differently today.
Facts. It's like, if you're moving solid, ain't nothing bad gonna happen. It's only gonna be something that needs to be resolved.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's also how you choose to look at stuff. Because I've seen people get a ticket and act like, they caught a case. And it's like, bro, this is like a regular traffic ticket. Like, just pay it
Traffic
online.
violation.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Put the money to the side, pay it online. Like, you good.
Pay it online.
Yeah, like it's crazy how people create situations in their own head for certain things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They make it seem so impossible or crazy when it's like, yo, you're making a whole 3 days out of something that can be resolved in 10 minutes.
Yep. Oh, it is, man. That's something that I try to teach my niece. Like, she's here visiting, and just because she's here visiting, I'm trying to remind her to keep doing things she likes, open up to things I like. And it's crazy because I literally remember that mix I told you I made that I lost. I
Yeah.
made it in front of her, and I told her while she's here, she's gonna pick 10 songs of her favorite songs, and she has a really good ear in music, and we're gonna mix a song together, and then it's just like I'm trying to show her that if you maintain like that level of just want to be creativity, keep yourself in the mind state, you find those good people who relate to you. Like, she brought her drawing book here with her, like, drawing pencils, and like she's like, I see her mind, and I'm like, bro, this is what I wanted to be when I was young. And so I try to feed that. Like, we did Legos together, and then I tell her parents, and they're like, yeah, she's a Lego master. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, I never knew.
Mhm.
So now I want to go buy more Legos. And like, bro, that mindset, I think that fills you up, man, and it allows you to get to a certain mind state and recognize that mind state within people. And I think that builds a good foundation to just keep continue that, bro. And it's like that grounded mind state, bro. And just keep coming back to that.
Yep. And the dope thing about specifically that is she can consciously say, hey, I'm going to occupy my time and always be around creatives, always be around
Yeah.
artists, so that her reality becomes art. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
She's in
That's really what she
situations.
wants to do, bro. You
You know
you
what I'm saying?
recognize it immediately, dude.
Yep.
I
You
didn't even
put
tell you
yourself
that, and that's exactly what she wants to do.
Yep, you put yourself in situations where there's other artists, where there's people making money off art, where either you're paying, whatever the case is, it's some kind of ecosystem in the
Hmm.
sphere that you want to be in. You know what I mean? It's as simple as putting yourself in those situations and just making it happen because you're in control.
Yeah, it's amazing seeing how creative she is, and I swear I attribute that to me. I don't know anybody else on her side of the family. It's only me, my sister, on our side, and like Bro, she just learns how to tag out of nowhere like graffiti. She just wanted to learn how to do. She draws like crazy. She reads like crazy. She's in anime. She's everything like in just experiencing other creative mind states, other realities. And I'm like, yo, that's so special. And she just turned 14, bro. I've had a good time experiencing that, and I hope to grow that into what we always talk about, and that mind state being, I hope to contribute and grow in her mind state
Yeah,
into that
facts.
kind of.
Cultivate it and let it keep growing so she
But
keep,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like keeping your mind open and always knowing that you don't know everything. You know what I mean? Like you're always
Mhm.
seeking ways to grow, always seeking ways to have a better, more peaceful, more productive life. You know what I mean? You're trying to break certain habits, outgrow certain things, strengthen certain things, and kind of it's almost like you got to detach yourself from your own life to understand what it needs. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
if you're too emotional about it, if you're too attached to certain things without really like knowing or having the discernment to really say, "Hey, this is not good for me," then maybe you need to seek some outside help for that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I said, you're in control. So whatever you're lacking, and you know that you need help in those areas, you can attack it. Nobody's holding you back. You know what I'm saying? It's like people that say they want to, oh man, I really want to pick up this hobby. Like I'm pretty sure whatever the hobby is, there's some kind of class, either cheap or even free, because the library we having a whole bunch of free classes that have a
oh
lot of
yeah,
information.
big time.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can pretty much get into anything that you want to. You know what I mean? It's just, are you gonna prioritize it, and are you gonna value your own life enough to say, hey, let's make this better?
And then a lot of times, like you said, like people, like I had a call from a friend that basically, her and her, I guess boyfriend or partner or whatever, separated, and she was just kind of in the funk, and like, we've all been there, man. We've all had those breakups that just kind of like have us down for a little bit, and I was just trying to explain to her, I'm like, yo, this probably ain't gonna be your last time feeling like this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
I highly doubt the next person you meet will be the one. They might be, but I can't give you 100% guarantee that's going to be the situation. But at the end of the day, what's done is done, and your life is going to go on tomorrow with or without that person. So what are you
Yeah,
going to do today to continue your life without that person? And she was kind of like, she kept going back to, but I mean, this person was, the only person I could talk to, and I don't know who I'm gonna talk to now. And but I'm like, talk to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, get to know you. Like, if you weren't, it goes back to the comfortable song that he wrote, or he put together. Like, he said he based it off of the sick of being lonely every night. You know what I'm saying? Like that song,
Yeah,
it's like, bro, like just because you were reliant on that person because they were a part of your life doesn't mean that if y'all separate, what are you going to do now? What were you doing before? You
yeah,
know? And it's like she kept trying to fall into that feel bad for me or feel sorry for me. And I'm like, I'm not about to entertain that because at the end of the day, did you call me to vent or did you call me for a solution? And if I'm giving you the solution, you know what I'm saying? Go do something that you love to do. Go find, refine whatever passions that you used to be into when you had the time by yourself. Go figure out why you need to be around somebody and not you can't be alone. Tap into that. You know what I'm saying? If I'm giving you these solutions and you don't want to feed into them, you want to keep falling back into the moping part and the feel bad for me part, I have nothing to tell you because you're not trying to grow from the situation. You're trying to soak in the situation, and
yeah.
that I can't entertain that.
And then like the craziest part of that whole thing is, why do you have other friends besides me and Joe?
yo, real quick though,
Why are you talking to
going.
other people, dog?
But listen, real quick, because it's perfect what you just said. I going back on my Facebook memories.
Talk to the
I've been saying
people
some
at your
real shit.
job, your fiance, me and Joe.
Oh my god, yo! What were you saying, Joe? Something about what memories? What?
My Facebook
You
memories
sharing time
today.
with other people, dog?
I'm
Come
gonna
on,
tell you what it
man!
is.
It ain't like that, dog.
You splitting time, dog?
Let's to be tight.
Yo, that's what.
He ain't having
Yo,
it.
yo, Robin's gonna hear this and be like, "I knew it. I fucking knew it."
Oh shit.
My bad, Joe.
Nah, what did I say?
I don't remember. I'm not gonna lie.
Something about memories.
Oh, the Facebook memory. I said sometimes with some real shit, and we'll close it right there. I said this shit like in 2014, dog. I said advice is something you ask for when you already know the answer to it and you don't want to believe it.
Big fact.
Exactly.
Just want to close it out right there. I said
Exactly.
that shit. I said that shit.
Stay butter.